Hello and welcome to the 100-day art challenge. I'm going to start this one off a little bit differently because I want to show you a quick bit of backstory to what I'm going to be painting today. I make videos for a gallery called Ffin Parc, and I'm fortunate enough to visit with the gallerists the artists who are going to feature in the shows, and I film the interaction between the gallerist and the artist. I edit that together and they publish it on their YouTube channel. There'll be a link in the description of this video for their YouTube channel. You should check it out, it's great, especially since I've started making their videos. Just kidding. Anyway, so the point being, actually I'm not kidding, it's really good videos. The point being, this is the end of one of the videos that I made recently with Ralph, who's the gallerist for Ffin Parc. So here's the end of one of the meetings with a lovely artist called Martin Llewellyn.
Good luck with the show.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, man. I really look forward to showing you when it's all.
Oh, brilliant.
Real. Thank you.
No problem. So I got a Parkies up in the van now.
Yeah, that's it.
So after that ending, it cuts back to the gallerist, as you can see, in the gallery. And as much as the video flows really nicely, what you don't see is what happens immediately after that. Ralph makes a great little joke and I immediately cut in, knowing that I have enough video for the edit that I need to make, that I just quickly want to share an observation I've made. So I'm just going to show you the bit of video that didn't make it into the Ffin Parc cut.
So I got a Parkies up in the van now.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I could take a few in the car, but not many.
That old radio.
Oh yeah. So it's, we had that a few years. Yeah.
I've got one of those.
Yeah.
Well, I got a fake version.
I think that's a fake, yeah.
Like a repro. Actually, no, yours looks a little bit. It's very similar.
Yeah.
I think it is slightly posher. Mine was just a radio. I think that looks is it a dab or something?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the posher version.
Yeah.
Which mine was like cheap as chips.
So as you can see there, that had caught my attention. Martin was sweet enough to let me photograph it. Ralph was sweet enough to hold the camera for me whilst I did that. It was such a great day filming, but the radio really grabbed my interest. So here's the video. Okay, so this video is going to be number 98 of 100. So 3, 2, go. This video, tomorrow's, and then the last one the day after tomorrow, which is going to be on Wednesday. So here we are. I start off painting in my sketchbook a general shape with a kind of what they call flesh tint paint. It's not flesh tint that I'm using, but that's pretty much the mix, which it looks like. I'm just doing it with a mixture of yellow ochre, crimson, and alizarin crimson and white, titanium white, and this is in gouache. And I've not really used gouache this way. I've used it after finishing a watercolor painting. I finished off with certain flat bits of the layers, and I've never used just gouache on gouache kind of mixing. And again, I always make the mistake of using a big brush for too long. Some artists recommend that, but I think the painting I'm trying to do is already small, and I don't think what I'm trying to achieve is being aided by using a brush that's too large. Plus, because I'm using it wet on wet, it's kind of blending with itself, which I quite like, but I make so many different decisions to try and finish off the piece that it doesn't really help. Painting in the background, the floor, the ground underneath it, the surface, it just bled into that, so you can see it's all blotchy there. And then all of that tone that I used for the radio has gone really dark, so I decided to try and lighten that. But first I'm going to try and establish the dial, which I think is quite a nice feature of the radio, and it's fun using gouache. I'm going to use them a lot more, I think, in the near future. They definitely dry a lot duller than they initially are when you apply them, which I don't really think is a bad thing. It's very similar to watercolor, and I have heard gouache is just opaque watercolor. That's all they are. So I think that's why I get along with them to an extent, even though they definitely it sort of worked a little bit differently in a way, because watercolor is transparent or semi-transparent. You can build up the layers and then go dark and opaque at the end, whereas gouache is just opaque layers. So I was trying to mix it whilst it was wet, and some interesting things happened. Certain things just bled as it was drying, and I should have known that would happen, but for some reason I just neglected to understand that. And even though I saw that happen after the first drying session, I just was too impatient, or just had too much confidence in my own abilities, that I started to try and develop different aspects of the piece, and again, when it dried, it just all bled into each other, so it just didn't seem to aid the process that much. And you can see it's really loose and it's not great, but if I would have left it there, it may have been better. But I thought, no, you know what, I'll put in a background, and that's going to be a grey background, and then the flesh tone will stand off the grey background. It'll look good. And then the dial didn't really stand out then. The dial didn't look right on the side of the radio, but the radio looked okay. What I didn't like was how washy and dirty the background looked, and I didn't really like the yellowy green floor surface colour that it was sat on, because that didn't really work either. But I thought it would, because the stereo is kind of a pink, so I thought maybe if I make it more white, it will be less offensive with the greeny yellow surface. What I should have done is just change the greeny yellow surface, and the amount of times I change my mind in this painting on what to do is probably the reason it turns out the way it does. So get ready for this radio to transform a little bit, or at least the page does. And as you can see, the page on the right is my plein air painting that I did earlier in the challenge. In fact, I will leave a link for that painting on the right in the right hand corner, the top right hand corner of this video now. So that's a link to that painting, which I think probably worked out a lot better than this one. It depends, I don't know, maybe you'll like this one. I think when I make these paintings, I'm really confused at what I was actually trying to achieve. I think just trying to do a still life is not as simple as it always appears to be, and it may be because I'm just rushing. I think that's all that the problem is I'm just rushing this process. And there's reasons why, but I won't get into all the reasons why I'm rushing. I just shouldn't be rushing, making bad decisions basically, and that's why I'm having to paint over certain things. And then I make this decision to, no, I'm going to go red. The whole background is going to be red, and that's a bold decision to make from green. But I just thought, I don't like the green, I don't like the blue, I don't like the grey, it's going to be red. And spoiler alert, it stays red to the end. But something has happened. When the red dried, it seemed to look like it ate away at the side of this radio. Can you see that? On the right hand side at the top of the radio, it looks like it's dissolved, it's been chewed up, and I quite like that. So I thought, right, I will paint the rest of the radio in, but I'm going to leave that top right hand corner as an eaten away, that chewed up part of the radio. I think that's quite interesting. So that little feature there, that's what I'm going to leave. And then for the rest of it, I thought I'll do a bit of an outline, because I normally don't do outlines for things, and I may as well start experimenting and doing weird things, because if this painting is going to be odd, it may as well be experimental in different decisions that I normally don't make, like doing outlines, doing a bold red background. Because the radio is so pale, I thought the contrast between the two would serve it. There's the little bits on the side. Obviously they can't connect with the dial anymore because it's now got this chewed up top right hand corner. But I think it's an interesting piece, even if it doesn't necessarily work as a still life, and it's odd. I don't know if it does work. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting, strange page to turn over, because otherwise it's all plein air landscapes and then just this odd still life piece. But anyway, I quite like using the gouache paint. I recommend it. I'm going to do a lot more of it. As I said, I'll probably do some landscape pieces because I like it a lot. But yeah, this is the piece that I did. Again, once it dried, it looked quite a bit different and I liked it a lot better, but this is what it looked like once it had dried. I hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.